report out of the committee. Can you just tell us a little bit about, what that means to you and the progress that you've seen so far on this bill?
Well, part of the progress is simply having the debate. Having the discussions, talking about things that are difficult to talk about and that a lot of times don't get talked about. So, I just take it one step at a time. I can't control the future. I can't control anything and everything that's going to happen. But, part of my job is to simply present what I believe is right and good and true, and just take it one step at a time from there.
This is obviously a very contentious topic, as we've heard, days of discussion from both sides. At the end here, Senator Tom Davis spoke extensively about how he's against the bill, and he says, I don't think this could even get 15 votes in the Senate. So what are we doing here? What's kind of your response to that and what you're thinking after, his spiel, but also just other comments in the past about what the likelihood of this bill is even going to be heard in session, since we're hitting the end now?
Well, it is a contentious issue and has been for over 50 years. I mean, I was alive when Roe v. Wade was handed down from the Supreme Court, and I never really thought I would be alive when it was overturned, but it was. So that puts us in a state-by-state situation of making the law, which up until Roe v. Wade being overturned, we were making suggestions, right? And then the courts were ruling on those, whatever we passed. So yes, it's very contentious, and yes, after 50 years of legal abortion on demand, you're not simply going to change everybody's mind overnight. It's a generational issue. It's not going to be solved today or tomorrow all across this country. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't be trying to talk about it and trying to move the line for protecting human life forward. And that's what this bill attempts to do, is protect the sanctity of human life in the womb.
Mm-hmm. Let me reframe that. How likely do you think it is to get a vote on the floor with the time that we have left in session?
It would be a great accomplishment if we could get a vote on the floor. Now, I've made no bones about this from the day I arrived, that stopping the killing of unborn babies, protecting innocent human life, is the single most important issue I think we face, because it's a moral issue. Either you believe that a human life begins at conception and has legal protection, or should have, or you don't. And there's quite a lot of people, myself included, who would say, yes, your unique DNA is formed in that zygote upon fertilization, and human life should be protected. So I am going to push within the Republican caucus to get this to the floor. Will I be successful? I don't know. There's going to be other senators in there pushing for whatever it is they want. It becomes a question of, well, what's the priorities of this caucus? What's important to us? I will say this, and I don't think it can be denied, that the pro-life plank in the Republican Party platform has been one of the most prominent planks for a generation, since Ronald Reagan. And so, when people say, well, we should do this or we should do that, well, how about we do what has been in the party platform for my entire adult life, now that we have actually an opportunity to do it?
Speaking of just the pro-life platform in general, there were some pro-life groups that came out and spoke against this bill throughout its time. Could you kind of speak on that aspect of it, that this is something that has kind of divided even the pro-life community?
Well, I think what you're referencing is, should there be a deterrent in the law and a potential criminal penalty for a pregnant woman who willingly has an abortion? Well, I cannot think of a law that we've ever passed where there's no penalty for breaking the law. Because if you're passing a law and there's no penalty for breaking the law, you're not really making a law, you're just offering a suggestion to people. Don't do this, but if you do it, nothing happens. So I don't even believe that's sensical. Now, prior to Roe v. Wade, the penalty that is in this law that I proposed is what was on the books. That penalty was removed when we passed the heartbeat bill. I opposed the removal of the penalty at that time, and obviously I'm proposing that we put that penalty back into the code, because I believe that a human life does begin at conception and deserves legal protection And if there's no penalty for killing you, you don't have legal protection.
Do you see that you kind of, from the bill you filed or was debated in the fall to now the penalty for women has kind of been dropped to a misdemeanor? Do you see that as being a compromise, or?
Well, it's obviously a concession on my part. I believe a human being in the womb has the same moral status and should be legally protected the same way my life and your life is protected by the law. But it's obvious in the fall I could not get the votes to get that out of subcommittee. But I have proposed what was on the books prior to Roe v. Wade. And, for some of the senators, that makes, gives them a greater level of comfort in supporting the law as a whole. So I was willing to make that concession to try to do the number one goal, which is to bring an end to the lawful killing of unborn babies.